and you guys will be able to hear everything that we have to say. And then you have to remember to tell me how to say this thing again.
Xiaopeng.
Xiaopeng. Okay, everyone Xiaopeng tonight.
We're gonna hope that's right. We're trying really
hard.
People. So.
All right, here's where we're gonna go with this one. Xiaopeng shares footage of its new X2 electric flying car, aka big old ass drone. So this is what it looks like here. There's really not much more than Xpeng Motors in China says that their X2 is being called the 5th generation flying car. And they basically introduced this thing. They've raised 1.5 billion since 2018. They've launched a couple of EVs. They've got a couple other cars on their websites. It looks like they got everything up and coming. It's all very promising. The thing looks pretty decent. I wouldn't call it a flying car necessarily because it's basically just a big old drone. However, they did release video footage. And in this video footage, they do, well, it looks cool. I mean, here, we'll just go ahead and we'll play this for you guys.
Video footage.
Yep. Oh, there we go.
Is that a single seater? I didn't realize a single.
So right now it looks like
is that what that is?
That's their prototype with their autonomous abilities.
Yeah. I must have missed that.
All right. Here it is in the nice hangar that they have.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It is a single currently. Yeah.
They got some nice dihedral tipped looking blades.
Yeah.
What they make a critical error here.
Do you know the date on that video?
No, there's no date. There's literally no data. I tried to find some other stuff on it right now, and it was very difficult to find.
Yeah.
So you'll notice there's a lack of controls.
Yeah. But just one straight iPad? That's it?
Yep. Big iPad.
Helicopter skids.
Lots of touch screen, right?
Yeah.
Now here's let me see if they show this actual part in the video, which so far I'm just seeing really not a lot that I can say is doable. I mean, it's just basically a big drone with a seat on it.
Hmm.
So where's the part where they fly it through the hangar? That made me laugh. Let me see if I can find this part. If it's coming up.
I haven't seen that yet either.
They literally they were flying it through the hangar doors here. Hold on.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Oh, here it is. Here's the best part.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm a little behind. Yeah.
Yep. So they take this thing off in the hangar. They have the other car in the background, which looks pretty cool. I guess that's pretty neat. I can tell you how frowned upon it is to fly anything in a hangar.
Very, extremely.
Very. And then there was another video of it at another place where you can see he's actually blowing the cover off the car below it. Which is kind of
there you go. He's flying over cars.
Right?
Park cars.
So here's the thing. It's at this level. What is this thing really?
It might be their own. I mean, it might be because it's Xpeng Motors. They have a motors company, right. So maybe it's their own property still.
Don't know.
I don't know.
So here's the thing, right? Everybody's hot into the flying car market, right? Everybody wants to jump in, and we noticed that there was Ehang a couple weeks ago. He said basically this is still just an overgrown drone. It's automated, great, but the difference is that people don't realize what they're getting themselves into when they see what's called basically or being dubbed a flying car. Okay, this is just a big drone with a seat on it. I don't really see anything to be excited about. It's an announcement, but I don't know. What's your feelings, man?
I mean, you brought up the Ehang thing, and I know one thing we said about Ehang, which I think applies. I'm just gonna guess, but it still applies here. Is I think what their aim for is gonna be shorter hops, intercity, like within the same city. Because if I'm looking at this right, it says supposedly 35 minutes of flight time, maximum speed of 80 miles per hour. It's looking like a short hop thing, right. And if they get 2 seats on there, then they have a little more versatility to actually do air taxi in the city stuff,
right?
And that seemed to be the aim of Ehang's. I think it's the EH216, if I'm not mistaken, which is their shorter range vehicle as well. And I think that they're probably going after the same kind of use case.
Right. Yeah, I understood.
So maybe it's going to work for them with what they're trying to do.
I have my doubts. I have my big
don't
doubts,
know.
okay?
mean,
I really
yeah,
do. Because, look, this marketplace is going to flood quickly with everybody jumping in and calling everything that's got blades on it a flying car. Okay? And the fact of the matter is that they're going to have to deliver at some point the ability for this thing to take a novice, a complete and total novice, sit in your button seat, move you 25 minutes of duration without, falling on top of, say, your neighbor or in the middle of a highway, and get you there safely, and then have all the regulatory authorities behind you to say that, yes, this is really what you can sell to people. Okay? There isn't
Did
even...
you...
What?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just... I was going to say... I was just going to say, did you see that apparently this has an ejection parachute?
Well, it's fantastic because you're going to need it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know. I'm just saying, if you're flying at 400, 500 feet, parachute probably ain't gonna do any good. You're probably too low to.
You're probably too low, unless look. The nice part is if the canopy blows off of this thing and you shoot straight up, it's going to give you enough of altitude to. And I know that they do have self-deploying parachutes.
Yes.
Now the thing is, it better blow you far enough that you don't get blendered by the thing when you come back down. Because this one, I'm taking a hard stance on this one. This is nothing more than an overgrown drone. It really doesn't.
It does look like one.
It doesn't have anything to really base itself on the fact that this should be getting a lot of attention for people to be serious about investment potential. Because right now, if you're looking at other competitors, Joby, Lilium, everybody else that's out there in the marketplace, Jetupterra, people that are out there making true innovation, this is not truly innovative.
Yeah, even the Ehang, even the Ehang we talked about a few times. If you go to the website, it has actually a lot of information about all the infrastructure backing it up. And I mean, like the ground-based observations, the people that are going to be there, observing the flight. It talks about how it will deal with failures on board the system. It seems more thought out. And maybe it's just because we don't have enough information, but I'm going to go with you, Mike, too. This one doesn't look as viable as even Ehang's does.
No, because Ehang, and look, and we could take the old Tesla model and apply it to Ehang right now and say, look, we're not seeing the genius in Ehang either because their infrastructure is going to be such the part of they're going to grow their infrastructure so clearly that everybody else is going to be playing catch up. It could happen. It's a lot of infrastructure. It takes a lot of dollars to do what they do in their position, right? I look at the more practical part of it, and like we've said it past, is other companies are going into this straight up propeller design. I think you have to be a game changer here. I think you have to be more like Jetupterra. I think you have to be in the position of changing the entire propulsion system, making it so that these things won't produce as much noise, so they won't be intrusive into the environment. There's so many other variables for these things to become absolutely successful.
Yeah.
But to basically have a hobbyist flying car that can go 35 minutes on a charge, great. You're basically you're a camera on your own DJI drone, except for now, if the thing crashes, you're just not losing a $700 drone. Better hope that parachute deploys.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Or am I being too harsh? Right? I could be. I could be being.
I mean, with what we have to read here about it, I think that works because we know we've addressed this more than once, a few times, of course, on some of the hang-ups and some of the hurdles and challenges to the eVTOL or VTOL air taxi market. And we talked about infrastructure backing it. We talked about how they're going to charge and do turnaround times. We talked about how they're going to handle IFR. We talked about general willingness of the public to even use them because remember that's certainly a big part. We talked about a whole bunch of stuff. And so, but I mean, I agree with you too. If you could have a design that addresses the big noise complaint, that addresses external rotating components, things that people would maybe get injured on accidentally, if you just take those totally out of the equation, I think it's a better solution. And
but here's the other thing.
Here's
the other thing. They're saying this thing's undergone more than 10,000 test flights and is scheduled to be in test drives in China at the end of the year. Now, a test flight that we say 10,000 test flights, right? 10,000. All right, so here's the difference. 10,000 test flights, which would mean that this thing has divided by 365. Okay, let's take 10,000 divided by 365, which is a year. How many times would this thing have to have flown every day in a year to reach that number of 10,000? Right? Well, let's do the math, and we're talking about 27 times. Okay, so a day to reach that number. So let's even make it, let's say that it's been undergoing development for 4 years. you're still talking about an astronomical number that I don't even think mathematically takes place at a rate where people can even comprehend that it could be successful. Sorry, that's why I'm not buying it. Just me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's as we try to cover air taxis, what we try to get as many details as we can, and I just don't have quite enough to. I mean, there's a lot of eyebrow raising things, like you said, the 10,000.
Yeah, that's ridiculous right here. I don't.
But
see
what does
that.
it say? Since then,
Since then,
X1. That's the X1.
Yes, has undergone.
X1 has undergone 10,000 test flights and is scheduled to begin test drives in China. Blah blah.
10,000. Okay, so even in 4 years of development, even if it's a 4 years development, my math comes out at six flights a day, right? You got to have man hour. I mean, you got to have people
And actually,
really going into that thing.
It says, in addition to the P5 announcement at Shanghai Auto Show this year, Xpeng unveiled the 4th gen flying car called the X1, and that's the one you just talked about. 10,000 flights.
Right.
So let me just make sure I'm not saying this crazy. Yeah, this is July 16th. Yeah. So the Shanghai Auto Show is when the X1 was announced, and it's supposedly had 10,000 test flights. So either it's been in development for a long time, like Mike was saying, or I'm just not sure where these numbers are coming from. I mean,
because
if it hovers for 10 seconds and lands, I mean, it flew, but
sure,
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're just totally off our rocker and it's late at night. I don't have any clue, but
I don't think so. And David just threw out a comment. He goes, "Do you think Flyblade stock will be the next big thing in eVTOL space?" I'd actually have to do more research.
Blade?
Yeah. I'd have to do more research to see what they're, because I know who they're partnering with, and I think it was Beta and somebody else that they're really getting themselves in bed with. And I would really have to see a little bit more, because I'm skeptical, and I've started to say this over the last couple of weeks, because of all these massive evaluations for companies that haven't flown anything yet. And that's really a tough place to get past, because when people get into small aircraft, and I say this genuinely, the general flying public is not ready to understand what it's like to fly below 10,000 feet on small aircraft going less than 100 knots. It can be a really uncomfortable experience. And if you're selling it as a high dollar one, there's a reason why you want to be going 200 knots in these things, because it smooths out that ride and makes it a lot more palatable when you're trying to get someplace, and especially at altitude. So,
I'm just refreshing me a little bit. Yeah, Blade, they had an S pack, I guess.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean,
we'll look at that. We'll you know what?
Yeah, we can revisit Blade. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's worthy of something that needs to be looked at, because as its own one. Yeah, and I'm actually putting a note up there too. So Blade as their own. So that's the next one. But hey, I think that's all we got for you today. If we, I think late night is a little bit more controversial. I say things that are a little bit more. I'm a little bit more.
I will say here, while we're still alive, I'll say I apologize for my my outburst earlier.
What?
I don't know. Maybe it's just late, and I don't know, tired.
No, I don't care.
I know.
I'm so hurt and offended, Corey. Wait.
You should be.
My thin skin. I can't take it.
But I don't know. Yeah.
All right. Anyhow, it is what it is. Look, it's getting. Look, here's what's going to happen, right? This is my feelings on it. Everyone is coming into two big spaces that we talk about with a lot of money right now, and that is electric vehicles and these air taxis. Okay, and they are hitting it with every dollar that they possibly can. And you have some of the biggest players like Ford, Hummer, which is GM. They're all positioning themselves right now to take a piece of that pie. This pie is going to be big. The difference is going to be, how quick can you grow the market? Who's going to really make it, in there? And how people's passions are really going to play into what they're going to purchase, because a car is an individual purchase for some. It says something about them. It's an individual expression, just like you like Tesla, right? I will be hard pressed to get off naturally aspirated until I really feel like it's time, but that's just me. But everyone's going to be different. So it's all going to have its space, I think.
Yeah, and it's all linked together, like we've talked about. Just my last comment there, because it's all linked together. We talked about all these EV spaces, all this battery development for electric cars, and then let's look at the article we just looked at: electric vehicles that fly. I mean, they're all going to be interlinked. When somebody breaks through really, really dense battery technology, whether it's solid state or whatever we decide to go with, I mean, it's going to have impacts across multiple sectors.
Sure.
And, if you guys are looking for something to invest in, I'd follow all these battery technologies close, because that's where
Yeah.
it's going to be at. Because it's going to cross multiple, it's going to straddle multiple sectors.
Sure.
Whenever somebody really breaks that battery down, and it's like, and I'm not talking about Tesla's lithium extraction, the battery process. I mean, the next gen, like the revolutionary battery tech, whether it's
Oh, of course.
going to
Oh my
fast charge,
God.
have a really long use case, many cycles.
So
Yeah.
here's a couple that come off, top of my mind. Anyone that's going to go into aluminum recycling, that's going to become massive. Magnesium, okay, another ultralight material that people are going to be looking forward to having in these areas. So mining, right? Like principal mining, just getting into these other areas that, yes, we know that mines exist, but you're talking about doubling and tripling the output of what you need for batteries literally in the next 10 to 15 years, right? So that infrastructure there. I'm not kidding about copper. You're always going to need copper. It's going to be embedded in all these things, and even the companies are going to sprout out of like these copper reclaiming, processes that are going to be popular.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, and then you're going to talk about, forget about salvage aircraft. They're going to be ripped apart. That are going to be put back together as EVs and EV tolls. They're just incredible. So yeah, we're heading into a subscription economy. That's very, very true. I agree with that completely.
All these microtransactions and everything.
Yeah.
It's
even to tag on to the car conversation we had yesterday. If you go back and look at the video, like I said, that they're going to turn into the next version of phones, because it's going to be like, what hardware is on your phone, and are you paying for the Pro Max S version with this and chipset on board? Because if you don't, it's not going to be a good thing. And even the liquid cooling that you mentioned yesterday is going to play into a factor of how these things are cooled at the amount of work that they have to work at. So it's all one part of a huge conversation, but you got to, pick the bits out of the dirt. So that's what we're here for. That's why we're not average.
We're definitely not average.
We're definitely not average. We're trying to be above average, despite tongue in cheek. So, hey folks, thanks for your time. We've burned through our hour, and we appreciate everything you guys have brought to us. The subscription keeps growing. Everyone keeps, adding on and adding on. So we like that. We're going to chop up these episodes, and I think we're going to be back at it Thursday night, right?
Yeah. Thanks for all the support, like, shares, the subscribes. Remember that notification down there too. If you subscribe, thank you so much. But remember to hit that bell so actually can participate with us. David, thanks so much for all your